Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Austin from Boss here at American Musical Supply, and right now we're about to do a little deep dive into the GT1000. So I'd like to explain a little bit about the technology first and how it's achieving these great amplifier and effects tones. So one of the core things about it is that it uses a 32-bit floating 96 kilohertz ADA processor. So what does that mean and why should I care? Well, other ADA processors, and ADA is the core of these type of effects and amp processors, basically delivers the sound to you at 24-bit. And basically this is the dynamic depth range of the input and the output. And at 32-bit, we have exceeded that number by adding more audio resolution points. Basically, these are kind of like pixels on a picture. So the more pixels you have, the more in-depth and more refined the image is. So that's one part about the technology. The other half is the A.I.R.D, or Augmented Impulse Response Dynamics technology. So let's break down the word here. So I.R. it stands for impulse response. And basically what this is, if you didn't know, is the modern day of amp modeling. It's basically a snapshot of what an amp is supposed to sound like. But it only actually captures the speaker resonance and the cabinet resonance of that amp. It doesn't capture the organic inner workings and component communication that rely in that amp. And what happens when you play into a tube amp is that as soon as you play into it, negative voltage is coming from the speaker and affecting all of the internal components inside that tube amp. So this creates this organic cycle between the speaker and the amplifier. And that's the augmented dynamics part of A.I.R.D, which is allowing us to achieve that organic cycle like we would be playing it to tube amps. So that is partially in why the GT1000 feels the way it does. So that's a really, really cool thing that I like explaining about it. Next thing that I like about it is that it also uses a Bluetooth app. As you can see right here on my phone, I'm actually able to edit all of the sounds right here just by simply pressing, holding, and touching stuff. So I can obviously change these sounds a little bit. Right, I have a distorted amp. Now if I want to change it, simply press and hold on the app. I scroll down, and I go to maybe a different amplifier. Let's try a clean. This is the natural amplifier. This is one of Boss Engineer voiced clean amplifiers. So really, really nice clean tone there. I can also add tons of effects on top of it as well, just by scrolling back into it. This is also an app for iOS and Android. I obviously have signal dividers. I can divide up my signal into multiple different routings to the XLR and the 1/4-inch outputs, so I can get the house PA to sound different than what I'm hearing on stage, which is pretty awesome. The next thing that I like about it is that you can change all of the control buttons. Now this is really cool because that means I'm not permanently attached to a preset workflow. So my workflow in this, for example, I have a clean tone here. And I set buttons 4 and 5 not to go to presets, but to actually be a looper. And yes, there is a looper built into the GT1000. So there I did a couple of things. Button 4 was recording and also playing back my loop. Button 5 was doing a clear section, and the control 1 is turning on and off a distortion. Now how did I get the buttons to do that? Well, inside the app, and this is also the same for the GT1000 main screen, you go to the control expression pedal section, and now I have all of the buttons that are on the GT1000, as well as the buttons that you can add to it with the control in jacks and expression pedal jacks on the back. I can change them to be any function that I want. So let's say I didn't want the looper to be there. Let's say I wanted it to be a tap tempo for the master delay, right? So simply just press into this button here, and I have all of these options to tell this button what to do. So if I scroll, I will eventually see master delay tap, which will be right here, master delay tap. So now I changed the button to be that function, and now you can obviously clearly see that button 4 is now blinking for the tap tempo control of the master delay. So now I can control whether it's short or long. So that's one of the really neat and fun functions about this unit. As well, when you get to other presets, such as this one built in, this is one of the built-in presets called 3D Jazz Chorus. On the app, you can obviously see there's a lot of signal flow going on, a lot of dividers. So now with the app, I can basically tap into all of these effects and kind of just engage them and turn them on. So really smooth stuff. Another thing that you might notice is that the buttons are actually, or can be, different colors. So this is another fun thing that I like to also add to the workflow of the GT1000. So right here, in the same control expression menu that we use to change the buttons around, you press it, and now there's another menu that says Control LED Color. So I can press that, and now it's set to automatic for all of the buttons and controls, but obviously if I press into the auto menu here, I can change it from blue to white to cyan, yellow. So whatever workflow works best for you, so that way visually when you look down at the GT1000, you know where all of your buttons and controls are. And this is also a great way to implement what is a pedal board friendly interface. So instead of having these buttons go to different presets, now I can set them to turn on individual stomp boxes or maybe preamps or other boost features. And that is basically the GT1000. A little bit deeper dive there for you as far as menu and scrolling options. You can check out this Boss product and more at AmericanMusical.com. Thanks a lot for watching.